she went over to Batchers and she said, is so-and-so there? Corky said, he
So
says he's not
basically,
here. She stormed
they
into
can't
that bar.
establish or operate any cannabis business, within the city. But like, liquor stores are selling THC and they're drinking and their drinks.
Yeah.
We used to give a phone to the guy who got the most calls. We used to keep track of it.
Yep.
We used to give a phone away to him. It was never me.
I don't think so.
Called me one time. Aaron broke his arm.
Oh, that's a good reason.
7 o'clock.
Call the meeting to order and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's meeting. We'll go ahead and move on to our second item, which is to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved.
We have a motion by Doug and a second by Blake to approve tonight's agenda. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Move on to item number 3, which is to approve the consent calendar, which is the minutes from our June 11th meeting and the payment of bills.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Doug and a second by Mary Jo. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. That brings us to item number 4, which is a public hearing on proposed ordinance 548, adopting a moratorium on cannabis businesses within the city of Staples. So I'll open that public hearing.
Those flyers out. I want to pass the agenda out. So they didn't want to follow with us?
Oh.
Thank you.
Oh, that's such a good councilman.
I don't know, Ron, if you want me just to kind of lay the groundwork for this a little bit.
Sure.
So at the council meeting here a couple weeks ago, along with the draft ordinance, I handed out a document from the League of Minnesota Cities dealing with early cannabis cultivation. Back in 2023 with the large cannabis legislation and legalizing all of that, there was nothing that was set to start until January of 2025 at the earliest. Office of Cannabis Management was established in July of that year. And that basically is a new state agency that's charged with doing all of the licensing and regulation of cannabis business when it becomes legal in 2025. This year, the legislature basically made some modifications to that statute and will be accepting applications for social equity applicants starting on July 24th through August 12th. And basically, successful social equity applicants will gain pre-approval to operate the cannabis business. And what they're getting a head start on is basically the cultivation, growing cannabis. We talked a year ago or so about adopting a interim ordinance or moratorium at that time, but there was really no need to because nothing was able to even be started prior to January of 2025. With the legislation that was approved in May of this year with the cultivation, that kind of changed that a little bit. Office of Cannabis Management, one of the things that they were charged with was developing model ordinances, you know, laying out all the guidelines and things like that, so that cities would have an opportunity to, through local zoning regulations, to, you know, figure out how cities want to deal with cannabis-related businesses. So basically, the League of Minnesota Cities is essentially recommending doing a moratorium, and it basically goes till January of 2025. So that ultimately we have the opportunity to review the recommendations and model ordinances that the Office of Cannabis Management theoretically will be putting out.
Well, and we do have a lot of that already set, don't we? Like with when we went through the tobacco things, you know, we have it where you have to be so far from the school and churches and.
Yeah, well, and the THC
Right.
is, I think, what you're referring to,
Right.
and that's kind of on a different playing field
Oh, it
than
is?
cannabis right now, because THC is legal.
Okay, so the
So we did
ordinances would have
license-
to be changed.
What's that?
The ordinance would have to be changed to include that as far as the school and stuff like that then?
The state, as I understand it, the state will be taking over even the THC licensing in 2025. So our, you know, our ability, or I don't know if that's the right word, but our ability to license THC related businesses will stop at that point, and the state will actually be doing it. So all this really is doing is kind of rewinding the clock to where we were in April, prior to the new law dealing with early cultivation. And I don't know if it would even be an issue. I'm not sure exactly what a social equity applicant is, or if we have any of those or not, but it just basically puts a hold on early cultivation from being allowed in the city of Staples until January.
Who determines when people apply in our area or the county, our Todd County? Who determines who gets those licenses? And-
State.
Okay, so they decide who gets them in the city and how many.
Yeah, we have very little regulatory authority related to the whole cannabis thing. We can, you kind of referenced what we did with the tobacco and THC, where, we can, there's a required minimum number, based on population. I think it's 1 per 12,000 population, if I recall. But you can regulate how far from schools, churches, playgrounds, or maybe it's daycares, playgrounds with play apparatus, that type of thing, similar to what we did with tobacco and THC. But beyond that, it's the state that handles all the licensing, handles the enforcement side of it. And we basically get, if an application goes into the state, as I understand it, they'll kick it to us to look at it from a zoning perspective, and what our local ordinances are.
If there's a minimum,
Yeah.
if there's a minimum of 1 per 12,000, per county, is that what it is?
Mhm.
And someone within the county has got, if it works out that we wouldn't need one to meet that requirement, because the 1 per 12,000 has been met, is there a way for us to, as a city, be able to avoid that because we've met the minimum? See what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I think I understand your question, and I don't know for sure what the answer is to
Yeah,
that, because, and we're dealing with two different counties, obviously.
Right.
If Todd County says, well, we're gonna allow 4,
Oh.
they're not saying that.
No, I know, but they could say that. They could go up,
You can go above, but you
more
can't
than
go
the
below.
minimum.
Yep,
Okay,
yep.
okay, I got you.
Yeah, and so you've got, the whole jurisdictional thing where you've got the county, but you also have city, and, the city has its own, zoning authority. But, I think one of the things that we're looking for guidance on is, if the 2 in the county are met, and somebody applies within a city, within the county,
Right.
does the state say no because there's already 2 in the county, or because it's a different jurisdiction? I don't know. bottom line is, the moratorium, prevents anything from happening until we have that information, so.
Is there anybody that would like to make any comments in the public hearing in regards to that? You folks here for that at all? No? Okay. Then I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. On the proposed ordinance 548, and we'll move on to item number 5, which is to consider first reading of ordinance 548, adopting a moratorium on cannabis businesses within the city of Staples. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mary. Blake, is that you? We have a motion by Mary and a second by Blake. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Brings us to item number 6. Consider second reading and adoption of ordinance 547 to vacate a portion of Spruce Drive and certain utility easements within the Platte of Valley View neighborhood.
Talked at length a couple of weeks ago about this, basically eliminating kind of the two sides of the cul-de-sac at the end of Spruce Drive and then those utility easements around those duplex lots. So, recommend approval.
Make a motion for ordinance 547.
I'll second it.
Motion by Doug and a second by Roy. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. It brings us to item number 7. Consider approval of resolution 1954 governing write-in voting counting.
This is a result of this past legislation. They have now given cities the opportunity to govern how we handle write-in votes. I'm suggesting that we only count them if they tell us that they want to be counted. I feel like it would help us close at the end of the night and hopefully get down to the county faster and hopefully everyone has the results quicker. But we'll see.
The example was Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck don't
Right.
have to be tallied and turned in at the county.
Instead of us flipping through every single one, writing down like, okay, Mickey got 1 vote. Donald Trump for council, he got 1 vote.
So they would not count any writing. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they would have to tell us that they want to be counted.
Okay. And if they do, then you have to count them all?
Just that candidate.
Okay,
This is what the county and the state do already.
okay,
The candidates say like, I have a writing campaign going, please count my votes.
sure.
And then we look for them and tally up the marks there.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mary, second by Roy to approve resolution 1954. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. That brings us to item number 8. We're going to review and discuss the 2025 through 2029 capital improvement plan.
So in your packet, we have basically first draft of the CIP for the next 5 years. And I'm not going to go through line by line on all 5 years here at this meeting, but just want to primarily focus on 2025, give everybody the opportunity to look at the other years, and we'll have it back on the agenda at least a couple more times before we're looking for any kind of approval. But basically an opportunity to try and lay out, okay, what are the projects that we have coming up, where are the priorities, that type of thing. So I think everybody's kind of familiar with this, but kind of have this broken down, police and fire in the gray color, parks in the green, street in the yellow. We've got the community center color, I'm not sure what that is, but kind of the orangish gets us into the orangish red into the fire. Blue is water. Then we have a sewer. And a couple of different colors there on sewer, but, so anyway, we try to estimate what project costs are. Our project costs are a little more certain for 25 than they are for 2029. We don't know for sure what's gonna happen on that, but a lot of these are repeat type of capital expenditure items that go from year to year and have for a number of years. But mobile radios for the fire department, scanner, forensic computer, squad radio, warning siren replacement. Since this was put together, I did find out this afternoon that we did get the Sourcewell Impact Funding Grant for $50,000 that we put in for the warning siren. So with that grant, we should be able to replace all of our warning sirens. So that'll just be in 1 year and the number will be different. So be able to update all of those. Within parks, we've got kind of a standing playground equipment item, you know, kind of, we've been on a every other year schedule as we build a kind of a savings account for playground equipment, go in and replace that. Golf cart, we've had that in the budget and the CIP for a couple of years here now. The old one's sort of still working, so we're gonna work that until it won't work, period. So probably carry that forward into next year. Picnic tables, garbage can replacement within parks, you know, both in 24 and proposing again in 25 to put $10,000 towards that, so we don't end up with just a huge dollar amount in any given year. Painting of the caboose, storm shelter construction. All of the grant stuff is in with FEMA, whether that's a fall of 24, which, you know, we also had it in 24, or a spring of 25, I don't know yet at that point. So that could change by the time we look to adopt CIP. Within the street fund, mower replacement, sidewalks, street overlays, seal coat, crack seal. You'll see those basically every year. We budget, you know, dollars every year for those items. E-plow for the street department, proposed to be replaced. Looking at Ventrac or something equivalent to replace the 1025 John Deere. Hot box to take cold mix and heat it up so we get better patches on potholes and cracks in the street. Put $1 million in for community center improvements. Within the light fund, you know, some final stuff on our AMI. Load control, we've talked about the GRIP grant, and we don't know if we have that yet or not, but we're acting as though we are going to get it. We've talked about our generation project. Again, we don't know if we're going to go forward with that or not, but we do have it in the CIP. Underground improvements, transformer replacement are going to be repeat items that you'll see every year. Costs for transformers, I think, as Scott shared, have gone up. Availability, you know, the lead time for them is substantially longer. So we're actually going to start doing a separate line item just for transformers. Poles, I'm going to get a load of poles. I don't know how many years that might last, but it's a whole truckload. Also replace a pickup truck. Within the water fund, AMI field tool for programming, update to the air conditioning at the water plant, and having some issues with that. Water department truck, reclaim pump elbow, and rail down at the water plant. And then you'll see kind of year after year here doing water meter replacement. They do have a point at which they aren't working right in metering the water, so we're going to start trying to do more and more updates to those. Within the sewer fund, safety grates for the lift stations, a safety crane or man lift for down at the sewer plant, chlorine tank safety kit. See, I have a typo there. and doing another manhole lining project for 25. Also in 25, Second Street, Southside Underground Utility Project in the CIP, and to acquire a vac and jetter that all of our departments would be able to use. Arrival departure building upgrades and T-hanger door maintenance out at the airport. We actually got grants for those a couple of years ago, and have been struggling to get contractors to even come and bid on them, but I think we're in pretty good shape now. So that may also fall into 24, depending on contractor availability, but we'll have it in both right now. Painting at City Hall and Police Station, and also carpet at City Hall and Police Station. We're not gonna do it all at once, but I will let you know that here in end of July, kind of on that 5th week where there's not scheduled meetings, we are gonna have a contractor in here to do the council chambers and fix up all the drywall stuff that's falling apart, so. Get that tidied up. You know, like I said, there's a lot of repeat stuff going into 26, 27, 28. Rather than go through all those line by line here tonight, if everybody wants to take a look at them, and then we'll plan to have it on the agenda again in our July meeting and be able to answer any questions.
So I had someone ask me if we were gonna get a stump grinder for Gower Lake. Oh, is that part of something that's in the budget or looking at? Or?
Well, it's not. I'm not sure who asked you. I was actually had somebody mention it to me. I was gonna talk to Scott about it, so you may see that show up on here between now and the next meeting.
Because evidently there's lots of trees down and more will be taken down in it.
Yeah, out at
expensive.
Dower,
Yeah.
there's gonna be an enormous amount of stumps, and our other parks have stumps as well, so. We typically contract that out, I don't know where what that balance point is. So, we'll talk about it though.
Okay.
The land at Second Street and Southside Underground Utility Project. So Second Street's gonna be done this year, right?
It's
Portion of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we basically did, the least amount that we could over there, came down to where the school's fire suppression line is.
Right, okay.
But, to really finish that would be to take it from where we stopped this year and go all the way down to Third Avenue.
Okay.
And tie that in with new stuff.
So that was broken down into 2 projects.
yeah, those guys work morning, noon, and night. They were there like at 7 o'clock. Beth Getty said they were there at 7 o'clock yesterday morning and didn't leave until after 8 last night. But it was a beautiful night to be out, so.
Yeah. They're, Scott, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think they are shooting to have the water and sewer mains all done and in by the end of the week. For the whole project, and that would also include the service lines.
Nice.
And come back in, fill everything, grade it, compact it, let it settle, come back in and start doing concrete and paving at that point. So, yeah, they're not wasting any time.
No, they can move dirt quickly.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions, Gerald? We'll move on to item number 9. Consider approval of resolution 1955 bid award and permission to submit grant applications for funding for 2024 construction of the 6-unit T-hanger.
So in your packet is a variety of things. So I do have Sarah joining us via Zoom. Sarah, can you hear us? Okay.
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
So there's a June 20th letter basically from SEH informing us of the results of the bids for the T-hanger project. Norson Construction was the low bidder for that. We did bid this with an alternate for a different kind of door system, but we're not gonna go with the hydraulic doors. It's added cost, and I think there's potential for some issues if the snow and ice aren't cleared away with hydraulic doors, as opposed to a strap lift, which we did bid. So there's, all of the bid results, and then also a copy of Resolution 1955, which does a variety of things. It awards the bid to Northsun Construction for $1,080,246.98. It approves the construction administration contract with SEH, which is $98,800. And then they've also to prepare the final grant to FAA. And I think they'll also be coming up, Sarah, correct me if I'm wrong, at a future meeting, the entitlement fund loan stuff from those other 4 cities.
I'll have to look at the paperwork, but I believe, that goes through the other cities. We do have 4 cities right now that are willing to loan out entitlements to cover the difference. But I believe they approve that and have their city attorney sign it.
First, and then we approve it, or?
Yes.
Okay. So for those of you that aren't familiar with how airport funding works, each year we get an entitlement amount from FAA. We don't actually get the money, we never get the money, but it basically sits in an account, and you can accumulate up to 3 years of entitlement funding. Well, 3 years of entitlement funding doesn't get you to $1,080,000. In the past, we've actually lent money to Baudette, to the city of Wadena, Canby, for their projects, because we didn't have a project, on the front burner at that time, and then those entitlement dollars were then, from their future allocations, were transferred back into our account. So we've got, I can't remember, Sarah, Wadena, Baudette?
So it's Glenwood, Wadena, Cook, and Tower.
Okay, that have agreed to do that, for our project as well. So it's kind of a, shifted around where you need it. If you don't use it, you lose it. So certainly don't want to do that, and they don't either. So that'll be coming at a future meeting. But so the resolution basically, authorizes the submittal of the federal grant application, does the consulting contract with SEH, and awards the project to Northsun Construction, who was the low bidder. So I would recommend approval.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Mary and a second by Doug to approve resolution 1955. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We will move on to item number 10. Consider approval of the 2024-2025 School Resource Officer Agreement with Central Lakes College.
In your packet is a copy of the agreement. Basically, the only thing that's changed on it are the dates, going to 24 and 2025, and the dollar amounts. So it's an increase of roughly $5,000 for the college, and they've had it and agreed to it. So I would recommend approval of the SRO agreement.
I entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Roy. Second by Mary Jo. To approve the 24-25 School Resource Officer Agreement. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion carried. That brings us to the next item, which is open forum. Is there anyone here today that would like to speak at open forum? No? Okay, anybody else in the council or, all right? We'll move on to city administrator's report.
Just a couple of things at the last meeting I mentioned that I'd like to have some discussion on what we want to do as far as sale price, proposed sale price for the lots up in Valley View. And then I proceeded to forget to put it on the agenda, so. But as I indicated, we do have, for sure one buyer that is interested in buying one of the lots that were a part of that, of the new plat that we did. There's already sewer and water stubbed onto that lot that was done as part of that original Valley View development. Just kind of as a memory refresher, the terms that the council established back 2 years ago, or maybe a little over 2 years ago with those lots, was to sell them for $10,000. That included the land and the special assessments that were certified against those lots originally. The buyer had a certain amount of time. I think we were, depending on when they bought them, it was roughly about 90 days out from that point to, make a substantial investment. We talked about $50,000 of investment on the property. We're not selling them for somebody to sit on for 3 years and speculate. We're offering that incentive because we want a house there. We had 6 homes that were built as part of that up there. There's two other lots with the original Valley View neighborhood development that are there. And those are the 2 that are on the south side of Spruce, far west end. So, and one of them is actually pretty small compared to the others. So I just, granted 2 years ago was 2 years ago. I don't know if the council wants to continue, to offer that incentive at that level. If we want to look at nudging that up a little bit, there has been a little bit of inflation over the last couple of years. I think as I said, the incentive has worked. We have houses that have been built up there, more in the last 2 years than we did in the previous 15 years. There's also that whole Wadena County tax abatement thing that's going to kind of be in play for potential buyers as well. So I don't know if we want to be at 10, we want to be at 15s, go to 5, go 30, I don't
Do
know.
we have quite a bit into those lots, Gerald?
What's that?
Do we have quite a bit into each lot?
The original assessments for those were about 19.5. That was for the tar, curb and gutter, water, sewer. And the 2 years ago when that 10,000 was set, we had just kind of gotten those lots back.
Sure.
Now since then we bought that outlot A from Hagelin and moved forward with the plat and replatting of some of that duplex area.
Okay.
But 10,000 is a great, it's a good deal. I
Right.
have no doubt that we would get takers if we're at that level. I don't know where on that
Yeah, I was
spectrum.
gonna say, will we have takers at 15? It's still a good deal.
I would say
I think
that
it
would still
probably
be a good
is.
deal.
I would say 15, but that's just,
Yeah.
The concern I have about it is we should at least get an appraisal done on those lots, so we know how much they're worth to begin with. The other thing is, if we sell stuff cheap, basically developed with taxpayers' money, and you got people out here trying to sell a lot, and we're selling way below that, you're devaluating their property and causing that to not either be saleable or have to be sold at a cheaper price. And real estate costs money, and you know, not only that, we're way upside down that whole development anyway, as a city and taxpayers. And I think that we should at least get appraisal on the lot, and if we're gonna waive the assessments, at least get an appraisal so that the ground is sold for what the value of it is anyway.
You wouldn't be waiving assessments though, right? We'd be giving it at a discount.
Yeah, I mean, it's all in the same basket.
So it was 19 something for the assessments, you said? So if we sell for 15, are we out 4? Is that how that works?
You'd be out for plus, whatever portion of the, what we paid Wadena County when we got them back.
So I mean, we would still be getting a portion of our assessment.
Just 2 weeks ago in this room, we talked about the water project over by the school. And they hired an appraiser to come around and appraise what the value would increase of their property with this new water and sewers and sidewalks and all that. And those people are gonna pay those assessments. And again, our assessments that we got out there are being paid by them too.
You know, your comment about somebody else trying to sell a piece of property and we're selling those, people might not wanna buy that piece of property if they're selling, also put that property.
I didn't say on the south side.
Or I mean, that in town, but I mean that piece of property that might be more appealing to them, so it's better a preference to some of that is, but.
If out there is more appealing,
But it depends on, it depends on each of us will have a different, But yeah, I see.
I don't think we should give away what we should,
Well,
why give it away for free when you
yeah,
get?
I don't think we're talking about free.
No.
We did it as an incentive.
Yeah.
When we did it before, and I think that has been effective to get the development that we were looking for.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, the special assessments on the Second Street project, the amount that the homeowners would pay is quite a bit less based on what the market value actually governs. And
Did they pay 60%?
we can get an appraisal done, that's fine, but
What's an appraisal cost?
I don't know.
Mark Bounds does
Lose
it
everything
really
in the
reasonable.
game.
Yeah, how much an appraisal costs?
Mark Bounds does
So
them.
you're looking at a cost there that you're,
I think an appraisal would be good too, to give us at least a baseline.
but how much
Or
does an
something to
appraisal
look at.
cost? I just wanna know.
I would say, I know Mark has done many, anywhere from what, 2 to 300 even. It just depends
that's
on,
not much.
right, I mean, it
Yeah.
depends on how much work is involved and if there's houses on it, they're not, I mean, you could check into that, Gerald, how much it would cost.
Yeah.
It always helps if you get somebody local.
And we're having the lot assessed for what it's worth.
Right.
Is that included?
What's the value of the bare land?
With all of the curb and gutter and everything in it, all that is included in that assessment?
Well, we can do it 2 ways. I mean, we know what the original cost of underground utility stuff was in the street, but, we can have them do it however we want. What's the lot with sewer and water. and
Yeah.
tarp
We want
land.
to do it so that we would be knowing the actual cost, for all the things that they're getting and.
Yeah, because the 19 something would be separate and then the lot, so then they know this is
Right.
assessments and this is what you're paying for the actual land. Right?
Well, let's make it clear here, I guess, I think there might be a little confusion, but on those lots that were purchased for $10,000, they didn't pay $1 assessment, right?
It was all lumped together.
So $10,000 for a $19,000 assessment plus the value of the lot cost $10,000.
10,000, yeah.
So I think is it a consensus that we want to get an appraisal then? There's 1, 2,
I do.
Mary Jo's in favor?
Yeah.
Roy's in favor, so we're all in favor of having an appraisal done and then coming back here then? Does that come back here then to discuss that, to see what we want to do?
Yeah, if you give me a little bit of latitude, I'll get the appraisal done. You know, I think we want, time, I think, is of the essence. You know,
Yeah.
we're approaching July, and if we want houses built out there yet this summer,
Yeah, I agree.
we'd,
So next meeting possibly could have, I mean, we're going to try to make a decision on this once you
like
come
to
back. with that
have
information.
the appraisal results to you next.
Okay, sounds good.
That works?
Works for everyone here, I think.
Thank you.
Okay, yep. Also, next meeting, July 22nd, our auditors would be here for our annual audit report. And then told you already about the warning siren grant that we got from Sourcewell. So that's all I have tonight.
Which one are they replacing? Which warning sign are they replacing?
Three of them.
All three?
So you'd have the,
Yeah, I know, but which ones? But all three?
All three.
Oh, okay.
Scott, how's the pigging going?
It didn't go very well.
It didn't go very well?
No. We had our staff there. We think we learned enough and think we could probably do a better job. So I think we're gonna plan on a project in August. But, the project that occurred, I think there's, so much corrosion in those pipes that it surprised everybody. And so we're gonna have to, reassess and do another one. And we may do, I think we'll probably end up doing more than one more project down there.
More than one water?
More than one pigging project. Yeah, when you do that, you don't want to do more than a week at a time because you have a lot of people have their water shut off. It's very inconvenient. So that's why we're gonna, Delvin is our lead water operator, has already started to draw up a plan for our next one as far as, changing which route we go, because you get more pressure over certain places, which will push the pig a little harder, and it will be looking at getting our own pigs. I think they underestimated how bad it was, and we think that they probably tried to push pigs that were too big through. So we're gonna buy some smaller ones and give it a shot ourselves.
How many residents had to have their water shut off roughly, do you know?
It was different just based on, if you're gonna go south, you're isolating that pipe.
Okay.
And so you might have 2 blocks of people that, and typically, you not only have the pipe that's getting pigged, you have that one off, but you'll have several that are coming into it that maybe they don't have a valve except for that might be 2 blocks over. So you get all kinds of people shut off. It's inconvenient to the residents
How long are they shut off for? Just curious.
for the day typically. Yep. And then it could be, you could also, it could do the project the next day and you may also be on the, a line that gets shut off when they're trying to go in a different pipe, so.
About 10 years ago, that 2-block section on 3rd Street Southwest, the city went in there and they dug that and put in mains. Now, when they took the old mains out of there, there was probably about a 2 to 3 inch hole through that, 2 inch maybe, hole. And all that piping has gotta be 60 years old at least over there. I mean, it's gotta be the original stuff. And I mean, we got some areas that are bad when it makes sense to just do some areas and a little at a time here. And I realize you're digging up half the street, but if you look down that street, that's exactly what they did there. And they paved it and
Certainly,
I'd-
certainly replacing the pipe is a better option. It's just that, it's just a matter of do we want to pay for the project or you can consider doing 2 blocks at a time, but that's still quite spendy to do that. And
I don't know.
We didn't.
we tried to give pigging a shot to see if we could. It's a cheaper option to clean out a cast iron pipe. And cast iron is a strong pipe which will hold for a long time, but it does fill up with corrosion and cause some quality issues. So.
We were gonna try and do those, but we ran into problems not getting funding because of.
Right, like as the capital improvement showed, you know, we were hoping to do that this year, and then we were hoping to do it next year, you know, and to get both water and sewer funded, 26 looks like the more likely option, so pigging would be a temporary solution, but it definitely buys us some time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Roy to adjourn, second by Mary Jo. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed signify the same sign. Motion carried. Sort of like a sloppy way of adjourning.